One thing I wanted to ask, and maybe we will use this as a way to, well, one more question after this one as a way to close out for your evening and my morning. Um, let's talk a little bit about your knowledge about the pitoras, the paintings. This is something my students will be reading about a little bit, and I would love to hear your perspective on their significance in the lives of Rathwa communities and families.
I have a paper in English written on this. I can just send that to you.
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Perhaps, so in light of that, could you share maybe either Sonal or Sandhya or both of you share your own personal experience with these paintings or the process or anything that you'd like to share from your own experience?
Well, I have seen a Pithora in one of our academy person's homes. That is all. But from what I know of that entire process, it's an amazing process, and the story is amazing as well of the god, and that paper will tell you everything. So it's very complicated. But I will also send you a lot of images, so
Oh, that
you
would be
can
great.
show you those images of the Pithora, because it is a story. It encapsulates their entire world, the world of the Rathwa, and it is in a large rectangle, and the Pithora, the Babo Pithoro, who is the main god, he is seated on one of the horses, and then there are the smaller gods who are before and after him, and then there are different styles of making the Pithora also. It's not just one style, and there are different ways in which that is done. But what is interesting is that Pithora artists are able to put in contemporary elements, like they will show an aeroplane flying because that's what they've seen, or they will show a police van coming into the village because that's what they've seen. So a lot of things change in the Pithora, but there are many things which will always be there. There are many mythical images which are there in the Pithora and which are there for a particular reason. There are actually two ghost images also, and those ghost images are identified because they are colorless. And that is because that is such an important part of their world, that this also exists. That's what it says.
What are these ghosts? What significance do they have?
See, the Pithora is an instrument of appeasement.
Mhm.
Pithora is made in a home because there is the family is experiencing some problems, and uh, the problem is not getting solved. So they say, okay, we will do a Pithora and please solve our problem. That's their prayer to the god. And then the making of the Pithora is not just that families, the family, of course, pays for it, but the whole village is involved. And then there is a village, a lunch for all of them, etc. And the whole process goes on for about 3, 4, 5 days when the Pithora is painted. And the Pithora is worshipped and it is looked after. And when the Pithora becomes old and because it is on the walls of their home, it also tends to you know go bad in the sense, it gets rubbed off or it starts looking shabby, etc. Then there is a way of how to put it to rest also. So it is a living god in their own homes, and it is there again, as I will use the word insurance against something bad which might befall the family. And the Pithora, the story of the Pithora is also very interesting, and it's quite a complex story. The god himself is illegitimate and is striving to get his actual place in the family. And so the baby Pithora gets lost, and then suddenly one day the mother finds it on the wall, and that is its resting place. And that therefore the Pithora is made on the wall.
Wow.
So
And this information is also, more of it is found in the paper that you're going to send?
yes, I'll send
Oh,
it to you.
exciting. Very exciting. That's really good. Sonal, did you want to add anything?
No, I would just, I think Sandhya ma'am has explained it very well. Actually, it's a ritual. The Pithora, of course, they have now started drawing it on cloth and even on paper and selling it. But
No,
primarily, it
trying to
continues to be a ritual which is very important within the community. So there's it's very sacred to the Rathwa community, even now, even within the younger generation. So that tradition continues.
That's interesting. So that hasn't faded at all. In light of other changes, that seems to be very strong still in the community. That's very interesting. Sandhya, you wanted to say something additionally?
yeah, you see, they used to make these pithoras on canvas and on cloth and all that, but fortunately at the academy we have now discouraged them from doing that, because then people buy it and then they hang it wherever they want, and it's not correct.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. So it becomes commodified or commercialized. Yeah, that's very.
So since every community has this family of Pithora painters, okay, every village will have its family of Pithora painters who will do the Pithora for you during the non-harvest time when they are resting. Everybody is resting. That's the time when they do that. So what we tell them is that, okay, you make other drawings. You draw what? You draw the forest, you draw animals, you draw whatever you want. Don't draw the Pithora for sale. But they're good painters in their own way. So that's what we are.
Yeah, that's interesting, because when I was in a tourist shop, not in their area, but might have been Vadodara, I can't remember now, but it was just a people, just a shop with people who were not Rathwa or anything, but they were selling many items from all over the place, and on a wall, or not a wall, on a door of some sort of cabinet maybe, or some kind of wardrobe or something, was a painting of the Pithora, but I'm sure it wasn't made by a a Rathwa person, but it was copied by somebody who was not Rathwa, just as a way to make it look all tribal in there. And I thought that caught my, in fact, I took a photo of it because it caught my attention as an aspect of this commercialization that happens when it's taken away from its cultural context, and as we would say here a lot nowadays, culturally appropriated, so that it's taken and then used for other purposes.
That's right.
Sonal, did you want to add anything to this discussion before we finish up?
Sonal?
No, I think Sandhya ma'am has, yeah, no, I think Sandhya ma'am has explained it quite well. And I think her paper, I've read a paper. There, it will explain many more things, many other aspects of the Pithora as well.
That's great. I'm very excited to see that. Thank you for sharing it.
Actually, we have a book on the Pithora. I would just like to add, we have a book on the Pithora written by our Adivasi colleagues, but it is in Gujarati.
Oh, it's in Gujarati. Okay, yeah.
It is almost a 350-page book. Yeah. So someday we are actually translating it into English. So maybe in a year or two, when we publish it, you can have a copy of it.
Oh, I would love that. Yes.